kingdom ruled by the God King. A farmer named Jack was plowing the fields when his young daughter, July, noticed a tractor blocking his work. With a wave of her small hand, she effortlessly tossed the tractor into the sky, where it landed gently by the roadside. This scene was witnessed by a neighboring farmer's wife, who praised July's strength and reminded Jack not to forget the village's matchmaking event. On their way to the event, a group of mysterious people wearing jetpacks blocked Jack and July's path. One man brandished a blood-red blade and swung it at Jack, but Jack merely threw a casual punch, sending him stumbling back. The next moment, the man and his followers knelt, respectfully addressing him as Your Majesty. It turned out that Jack was indeed the God King, and Tom had come to request his return to handle an impending war. But Jack, tired of war, instead handed Tom and his men a truckload of farming tools, ordering them to finish his fieldwork. July was thrilled at the idea of her father finding a new wife. However, at the matchmaking event, all the women were either visibly pregnant or elderly ladies proudly claiming they were still maidens. Upon hearing that Jack was a poor farmer, they all mocked him, declaring no woman would marry such a pauper. At that moment, Rose stepped forward, announcing she would marry Jack. When another woman laughed and asked if Rose was blind, Rose's bodyguard slapped her down, revealing that Rose was a corporate boss. She, desperate to escape her family's endless nagging about marriage, found Jack with his ready-made family, an ideal choice since she wouldn't need to bear children herself. July, pleased with Rose's fierce spirit, agreed to their marriage. After getting married, Rose discovered that July was not Jack's biological daughter but the posthumous child of a comrade. She admired Jack's loyalty. Jack took them to his ancestral shrine to pay respects, only to be barred entry. July took on 2 guards, easily throwing them to the ground. Inside, Jack was shocked to find his estranged sister had returned. But instead of a happy reunion, she slapped him, angry over being cast out by their mother years ago. Jack explained that their mother had been heartbroken by his sister's gambling but had always cherished her, even sewing her wedding dress before she died. However, his sister dismissed him, vowing revenge. She seared his back with a hot candle as punishment and burned the wedding dress, cutting all ties with him. At that moment, Rose arrived with lavish gifts. Her sister-in-law was shocked to learn Rose was married to a mere farmer, but Rose slapped her, fiercely defending Jack. Just then, a Mafia boss stormed into the shrine, having heard about the CEO's presence and intending to extort money from her. He grabbed Rose's assistant, planning to make an example of her. July intervened, stopping his blade bare-handed, challenging him to a fight. The mob boss laughed at the little girl in her princess dress but allowed his 100 men to attack. Rose panicked, but Jack held her back, and soon the air was filled with the sounds of his men screaming in defeat. The boss thought his men had subdued July, but she soon appeared dragging his last remaining thug. Seeing July wielding a massive blade, the boss immediately dropped to his knees, begging for mercy, which she granted after a slap that sent his dentures flying. Jack then ordered his daughter to let him go, and the mob boss fled in terror. At that moment, Rose received a call from the Long family, who had kidnapped her parents to coerce her into surrendering her company. Not wanting Jack and July involved, she hurriedly boarded a plane alone. When Jack learned a bomb had been planted on her plane, he ordered July to intercept it. A passenger looked out the window to see a little girl running alongside the aircraft at breakneck speed, holding onto the landing gear and bringing the plane to a halt. Once on board, Jack warned the passengers of the danger, but they didn't believe him. Even Rose was upset until the chief security officer arrived, recognized Jack and knelt before him. The bomb soon exploded outside, confirming Jack's warning. Rose, realizing she'd misjudged him, apologized and noticed a relic of the God King on him. Curious about his true identity, Jack brushed it off, joking it was just a toy July used to crack walnuts. Rose then asked Jack to pose as the God King to save her parents. Jack reluctantly agreed, and Rose rewarded him with a kiss, which July demanded as well, resulting in a playful family moment. The next day, Jack appeared in royal garb, and Rose proclaimed her husband the kingdom's ruler, advising the Long family to release her parents. Unmoved, the Longs dismissed her claims, and her parents urged her to relinquish her company. Jack then presented the Dragon King's token, which the Longs questioned. At that moment, Tom arrived, and the Longs assumed he'd deal with the imposter. Rose feared for Jack, but he reassured her. Tom shocked everyone by slapping the Long family representative and displaying the token, from which a golden dragon emerged. Realizing the token was genuine, everyone knelt, allowing Jack and Rose to depart. Rose's mother, oblivious to Jack's identity, wanted to marry her off to Tom's cousin. Rose refused and was slapped. Jack and July intervened, and when the cousin tried to fight, Jack swiftly knocked him down. Rose was grateful, but her mother scolded them, fearing Tom's wrath. Jack held Rose, assuring her she had nothing to fear. When Jack attempted to enroll July in school, they were stopped by a guard who mocked their poverty, only to then bow to a wealthy family passing by. Enraged, Jack kicked down the school sign and declared they wouldn't attend such a school. July, thrilled at the prospect of not attending, cheered. Later, as Jack arranged for July's admission elsewhere, Tom's cousin tried to assault Rose after work. Jack arrived in time to save her, kicking the assailant down. Though grateful, Rose scolded Jack for the consequences. Tom's cousin delivered a banquet invitation to Jack, planning to humiliate him, but Jack tore it up, stating he didn't need an invitation. That evening, Tom personally presented him with a VIP invitation. At the banquet, Tom's cousin tried to lure Rose away, but she held on to Jack, vowing to stay by his side. Tom's cousin ridiculed Jack's invitation, claiming it was fake. Tom then opened the banquet door with it, silencing everyone. Until Tom made his entrance, his cousin remained smug and arrogant. But in the next moment, Tom slapped him so hard that he spun around, dazed. Tom then announced the cancellation of the entire banquet. That night, Tom knelt, apologizing for his cousin's behavior, offering Jack a limitless credit card as compensation. Jack remained expressionless, though Rose was amazed as her company's stock soared. Seizing him by the collar, she demanded to know his true identity. Before he could respond, they received news her mother had auctioned off her company. When the two arrived at the auction, they discovered that the person trying to acquire Rose's company was none other than Tom's cousin. Rose didn't have enough funds to compete, but Jack held her hand and told her not to worry. He then raised the bid to 1,000,000,000 yuan, setting a new record for the auction's highest price. Rose was anxious, fearing Jack might not have the funds and could end up in jail if exposed. As the staff brought out a POS machine for payment, the transaction initially failed. The crowd sneered, accusing Jack of bluffing, even threatening to have him arrested. But the staff explained that the amount exceeded the POS machine's limit. After switching to another machine, the payment went through successfully, stunning everyone present. They finally realized that Jack's card had no limit, and it was actually issued to Tom. Tom's cousin accused Jack of stealing his brother's card, but Tom appeared at that moment, knelt before Jack, and respectfully addressed him as Divine Lord. Only then did Tom's cousin realize Jack's true identity, and he promptly fainted in shock. Jack soon received a call from his sister, only to find Rose kidnapped by her. Furious at Jack for her years of hardship, she threatened to kill Rose as revenge. But a masked man attacked, and Jack's sister leaped in to shield him, taking the blow. Before dying, she expressed her wish to not be his sister in another life. The masked assailant revealed as Tom was vanquished by Jack's swift blow, saving Rose at last.